everyone, I got a special guest on today. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jimmy Pilato, one half of the Far End of the Bench podcast. We are, on social media at FEOTB Pod. We got our YouTube channel you can subscribe to, website, bookmark, feotbpod.org, talking all about sports. Recently picked up a ton of WWE content. We were talking about that a little bit before the show started, but Nico and I, we've been friends since 7th grade, and we've been doing the show. This will be year 5 coming up. This will be we'll hit year 5 in August. So if you enjoy it, check it out. Far End of the Bench. We got clips and everything, so you don't have to listen to the full show at first and see if you like us. But we hold each other accountable. We've been friends a long time. When you're friends that long, you can tell somebody they're a dumbass, and sometimes that's taken well, sometimes that's not. But that's why you got to tune in. So Far End of the Bench podcast, Jimmy Pilato. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me. It's an honor. This is one of my first guest appearances.
Okay, over here we like to start with giving. I like to start by giving my guests a ether segment, basically going off about anything sports related, anybody you don't like. We don't what's the word I'm looking for? We don't hush people up. So basically, just go off who you don't like, what you not liking. Go ahead, get off your chest.
I there's one thing that I truly cannot stand, and you can probably tell by the jersey that I'm wearing, but the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's so deep that I hate the other teams in the sports that I really don't follow all that much. I goddamn hate the Steelers so much that I have a t-shirt that every time I post it, we get a ton of interaction, and it goes, for whatever reason, I have tons of friends and family members that are Steelers fans, but it's a true struggle every year trying to go through the holidays and be like, oh, great time seeing you again. I know that you happen to like that other franchise, and maybe you're a good person, but I just don't feel like you could be a good person cheering for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it's made me very happy the last few years. Mike Tomlin has been shown that he's maybe just a little bit more of a mediocre coach. He can handle personalities, but I feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers on a train to mediocrity, and I'm fine with it as long as we keep getting our shot at kicking their ass 2 times a year. That's all I care about. If we lost every single game, went 2-15 now in the 17-week season as a Cincinnati Bengals fan, and those 2 wins were Pittsburgh and then at Pittsburgh, I could be okay with that. I'd be actually more okay with that than what happened this year, because we can get into that. But this year was frustrating.
You know he Ohio fan, because he's like a Brown. I'm a Browns fan. That's how we beat. Long as we beat the Steelers, I feel like the Super Bowl to us. So, what you feel about Mike Tomlin? You feel like it's time for the Steelers to get rid of him, or you think he can still coach the Steelers?
It would be one thing, but I mean, like everybody's shtick gets stale if you're in the same place for long enough. Even Belichick had the loss against Tennessee at the end of his time in New England. I feel like at some point, and I know this is not their MO because they've had 3 head coaches in their entire franchise's history, but you should probably look for maybe somebody different that can help your guys along. Maybe you don't have to get all of the head cases in the NFL. You don't need George Pickens and some other guy that's going to cost you 15 yards a play with a personal foul. You can build a team another way. I feel like Mike Tomlin makes it purposely hard on himself so that he can have something to fall back on, but he's always he's always better than 500. Now he has to be better than 500. He can't be 500 anymore. But I feel like the Steelers fans that I talk to are also kind of they're not sick of it, because why would you be sick of not ever finishing below 500? But they don't have anything right now. Like, what are you looking forward to? Russell Wilson coming back? Justin Fields? I don't know what the situation is going to look like next year. Why would I be excited to be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan next year?
I get that. I know I think they're planning on moving on from Russ. I seen where they released him. I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but Justin Fields in Pittsburgh, of course, he's gonna be a future in case they just get them a Michael Vick or somebody just out this world, because the game's becoming a run first quarterback then pass. So Justin Fields, I believe, with Mike Tomlin, it's like the Lamar effect, like what he did with Harbaugh down in Baltimore. Everybody was saying fire Harbaugh. Lamar came in, now all of a sudden Harbaugh still coached like 7-8 years. But yeah. feel like Justin Fields, he's not on Lamar status, but I feel like he gonna give Tomlin like another 3-4 years. I don't know, because they might trade Justin Fields the next day for some draft picks. But I feel like for now, when it comes to Steelers, unfortunately, us Ohio teams gonna have to deal with that Steelers team and all they drama. You know how they do. But in the meantime, I know this ain't one of the topics. So let me ask you this real quick. I gotta go do this. I want you to talk to him. What you feel about the Chargers getting rid of Joey Bosa?
It's similar to what I was kind of saying about coaches getting stale at some point when you have a guy that's constantly causing headaches and then add on top of the injuries. And I think that, he had a lot of promise. He had a lot of things that people expected of him, and he's highly touted straight out of college. He might be able to be good in another location. It might be the fact that he needs a change of scenery, get on a team that can actually compete. I don't know what it is about the Chargers, but we talk about it a lot on our show because as having a Broncos fan is one half of the show, that's half the things that we do is bash on the Chargers. I feel like I don't know why they couldn't have figured out a way to get something back for him if it was the contract, if he was becoming a free agent and they just decided to end negotiations. I just feel like both sides they started off hopeful, but they both saw that moving forward, they weren't going to get any benefit out of it. So I feel like both sides should be kind of breathing a sigh of relief that they don't have to go. It wasn't an awkward breakup. They were just kind of both like, yeah, I could use somebody different, and the team said the same thing. So move forward, see what we got, and they have to regroup. Maybe he didn't jive with Harbaugh as much as people thought. That might be something.
I had Chargers fan on here. I think my last guest. I'm like, Harbaugh come in, he get rid of all the big time players to, Harbaugh. We talk about John. No, Jim. When you talk about John, we talk about Jim for who gonna be watching. When he come in, he get rid of all the big time players. Harbaugh like control. He like to play even though he can coach. I ain't gonna take that away from him. He like play I drafted these guys, or I went and got these guys from free, be the man type part. That's how Jim. He been doing this since 49ers back then. So them releasing Joey Bosa, you best believe Harbaugh was like, yeah, I don't think he gonna work. So either trade him or get rid of him, because he didn't make Bosa. You know how them coaches, some of them coaches do.
Maybe he's looking at Mason Graham to replace Joey Bosa because that's a guy that was at Michigan with him, and everybody thought he was going to draft TJ McKinley and get rid of Justin Herbert last season. Turns out Justin Herbert could have gone to Michigan if Harbaugh would have recruited him a little bit better. No, I think that he's probably the deciding factor, but I don't think Bosa is crying any tears. I don't think that he had some super emotional tie to Los Angeles. He just wants to go to a place where I don't even know how much he wants to play. I just think that he wants to somewhat attain the same level of success as his brother. Right now, he's the worst Bosa brother. He hasn't had near the amount of success as Nick has out in San Francisco, even though Nick hasn't won anything. But they played for some. They played for a couple rings, and Joey hasn't even really been close to the dance.
He might go there in San Francisco while we playing. I can see the media attention right now, man. San Fran gonna be milking that. We got McCaffrey, and we got the Bosa brothers. Man, they're gonna be marking them three the whole season, man. I just know how they operate.
Yeah, but after what the Kachucks did in the Four Nations, the NFL might just move Joey Bosa up to San Francisco. Like, don't even go through free agency. We'll sign you your contract over there.
Man, did you see? This is another off topic. That Luka AD trade. Who you think get the last laugh?
The last laugh, the first laugh, every single laugh of this entire thing has been the Los Angeles Lakers. I feel like that not only did you fleece this team that didn't shop a guy that could get you whatever you wanted in return. Like, you could have got dude houses, they're throwing in licenses, marriage licenses. Like, you have my wife, you take over my family type stuff. If you get me Luka on my team, I will be fine if you take whatever. They didn't get any of that, and they gave a bum toy. AD played 31 minutes. He didn't even last an entire game. barely over a half is what AD played as a Maverick. So there's obvious signs that the Lakers knew that was going to be something in the future. Yet this still went down with nobody knowing, and a third team is involved, and they're taking on salary of a player they don't even know is involved in the trade. This is fishy, but like not good on the Lakers because I don't like the Lakers, but they're winning. They're taking advantage of it. They're using all of their weapons to their advantage, and the Mavericks. I feel like this is the worst season I can remember. I know as a Browns fan, you have maybe a different perspective than I do, but this season with the Dallas Mavericks being in the conference title game last year to now not having Luka, AD being hurt, and Kyrie out for the season, and you got rid of all of these other pieces in that trade, the Dallas Mavericks might be dead for a long time. I don't know who's going to be able to take that thing and put it back right.
Man, as a Cavs fan, I'm chilling. We number one, 50 about to be on 60.
You did the exact opposite of what Nico Harrison did. You got better, and he was like, yeah, he's fat. I'm going to make us way worse. It's just because he's fat. My co-host said it best. Nico said, you could put the motherfucker on Ozempic, and he can still cross people up. Like, sign him to the max contract, put him on Ozempic if you think he's that fat, and give him the basketball. Let's roll.
Rob Pelinka and LeBron Dart. Well, we gonna get to that. That's not our friend time. This is all I like to do with my guests. We gonna get to the list. But so first you trade AD to the Luka. That's like some David Stern way back when. You know how David was from, but you know the new dude, whatever. So the NBA because we know this is an NBA trade. Luka for AD. Y'all need ratings. We know ratings going down. So we gonna make the Lakers be the savior team like we always do. Cool, whatever. Kyrie go down a month later. So that's two top players. Mind you, these dudes old though. Then you got Clay. We know Clay. Clay is what we like to call mid-washed. Where he ain't fully washed because he can still drop 30, but he not dropping 60, 50. He's not doing it unless the other team just like him just score, go to the rim every play. No. So then we got the Lakers. They got Luka, LeBron now, Austin Reeves, some other dude they got. Not all of a sudden they gonna jump to the number 2 seed. Come on, NBA. We know how y'all move. We know how David Stern was moving. Whoever the new dude is, bro, you doing it, David Stern. Okay, the ratings down. Let's make the Lakers be the face of the team. We know the Cavs. So we're going to have LeBron. We're going to have LeBron. Huh?
Thinking about it, like, because Boston is the best team in the East. That's the NBA's greatest rivalry. How many times are we going to run this same movie back? This is Avengers 19. This is the Avengers and Thanos now assembled a new Guardians, and that's who we're fighting. I have no, like, I don't know if you're obviously way more into the conspiracies in the NBA, and it makes sense. You can think about it. If you think about it long enough, it makes sense. How did this happen? I don't know.
So now it's either going to be LeBron versus Cavs in the finals. Man, they going to be milking that for the next 10 years. Or it's going to be the good old Celtics versus Lakers. When I tell you, ain't nobody watching that. Nobody. Y'all see when y'all tried to make Golden State versus Boston, then I'm like, that's one of the lowest views finals of all time. Nobody. We knew Golden State was gonna win. Like, come on now.
Yeah. How do you feel about LeBron? You're living in Cleveland. What's the feeling on LeBron? Are we okay with him now that he came back and won a championship, or is the feeling?
I'm not gonna lie. When I was younger, I really didn't even care. I guess so. Like, I wasn't really into basketball. I'm more like into the Browns. So it was a lot of. I was getting roasted in school a lot for the Browns. But when Kyrie came to the league, man, look, LeBron I was a Kyrie head. Because imagine you being a rookie and you already getting compared. I don't like comparing players. You getting compared to AI out the gate. Because Kyrie doing
that's my favorite, those memes on social media where the guy jumps and then it cuts to them close and they're doing all the weird shit as he's going up for the layup. Like, hold on. Tap it off the glass and bounce it off the rim. And Nice touch. You fouled me, but nice touch. I'm going to go to the free throw line. Thank you for the 3-point play. Cleveland, Kyrie, if they could have figured out the egos, if they could have burned some sage, and LeBron didn't want to go and be the star somewhere else again, that could have been something dangerous for a while.
I'm mad the Cavs is retiring Kevin Love's number. Like, what did he do?
Sat on the wing and caught passes to shoot threes.
That he only hit like 30% of. Because, no, you. Now, it would be different if they say, we about to retire Kyrie number while he's still playing. Okay, number 2, y'all should have been retired that. Number 0, though, Kevin Love ain't do nothing. Like, what did he do? Like, Kevin Love was not selling no merch. He was not selling jerseys. He was not putting buses seats. He was just the dude who you was popping in Minnesota, and then you just so happened being on the right team. Like, that's like when the Warriors retired Draymond Green number. What did he do other than kick dudes in their nuts all day? Like, what did he
knock
do?
out his teammates in practice? R.I.P. Jordan Poole. That was one of the great. The NBA. We haven't really talked about basketball games on our show with the NBA, but we talk about all the storylines. It's fun to see where everybody's. All the GMs are calling their star players fat. If we want to bring it back to the Nuggets, we had that whole situation with Calvin Booth and Jamal Murray after the Olympics. The contract that wasn't going to get signed, and then it got signed, but he's still lazy and not doing things. Like, if you're in the NBA, all bets are off. You're making a lot of money, but people are bringing up the nastiest shit about you, and they don't care. Like, for whatever reason, that millions and millions of dollars, that hundreds of millions of dollars you're making means that everybody can take whatever shot they want at you.
More money, more problems, man. But one more thing before we get into a list. You see with LeBron acting like he on some Will Smith running up on Stephen A. Smith, like he on some Will Smith. Like he on some Will Smith, Chris Rock, like LeBron. Dude, you so-called a billionaire. I ain't checking your pockets. Why is you running up on dudes talking about your son? Like, we don't know. You basically deboed your son into the league. Because we know you did. You basically deboed your... What you feel about that? Because I know you saying it.
That guy has no... He's totally lost touch with reality. It feels like he's totally gone. Because, I don't know how that works out. If you beat up Stephen A. Smith, you're 6'10" super athlete that beat up some reporter. If Stephen A. Smith kicks your ass, you got beat up by Stephen A. Smith as a 6'10" super athlete. Just go back to not reading your Malcolm X biography, and if people say something about you, cry about it on your $1 billion, is my feeling. Like, why would you care about anything anybody ever says about you? If you're LeBron, live on top of your mountain, play your basketball when you want to. That's it. If he wanted to, he could just see the world, see him as a great person. He doesn't have to deal with all this bullshit, yet he puts himself into it because he thinks that he knows how to, for whatever reason, a guy that didn't go to college thinks that he's the smartest man alive. Hasn't turned a page in a book in like a year and a half, but
I be trying not to bang on the bros, because you know how they already do to me. But LeBron, you being a black dude, I'm glad. I was about to bring up that Malcolm X. You read that Malcolm X. It's a billion people who be talking about your son all day. Now, even though I don't like Stephen A. Smith, but this ain't the time for that. You running up on Stephen A. Smith. Dude, you're not even getting no street cred for that. Like, dude, you was 6'10". This man is almost 80. And come on, LeBron, like.
I would like to see Stephen A. and Skip in a boxing match. Because you can't put Skip in a boxing ring with Shannon, but Stephen A. versus Skip, the age is fine. Skip thinks that he's in shape. Cowboys fan versus Stephen A. Smith. I think people would buy that. I feel like I should become one of those YouTube boxing promoters. Your channel's got a much bigger audience than mine, so maybe I'm putting some ideas out there, seeing if something will stick. But that's what I'm seeing. I'm picturing it in my mind right now, and Zuckerberg and Musk can be the headliner.
Bro, you're not gonna get no street cred. Like, dude, you 40, that man is almost 80. Like, why is you running on that man? And then you read the Malcolm X like you want this black power kick. We ain't gonna get time. I just hate when dudes be doing that. Like, y'all, LeBron, let's be 100. You probably off in the book. it was like, take the picture. Like, come on, LeBron. What's page 1? Read me page, because I don't read all of it. Read me page 1, LeBron. Like,
yeah. No, I would like to ask him what what is the religion that he follows? What was the things that he stood for?
what was his street name before he turned Muslim?
All of those questions are valid. If you've read the book, all of those questions are on the table. I am a middle school teacher, so I do have to say that. Like, if you read the instructions, you would have answers for this. Like, he just does like half the work. He's like the influencer athlete now, where he does half the work, wants to make everything look good. All you have to do is spend a little bit of time being able to articulate something, and you could be whatever you want to be.
You make them read Malcolm X autobiography.
I'm only 7th grade. Malcolm X would be a little bit heavy for my kids. 12 and 13-year-olds are not ready for that. They're just about ready for Martin Luther King. That's the stories that we get to tell.
You let your teachers call you? I said teachers. You let your students call you by your first name?
No, hell no. Hell no. They've tried certain nicknames, and I've been like, you have my name or you have Mr. P, and that's all you have. You can call me Coach. If you can't get anything else down, you can call me Coach. I coach, but like, don't call me James. I will square up and I will fight you.
What you coach?
High school wrestling and football.
Okay. So, man, I know it'd be awkward. I know you gotta send some of them be watching you on the pod, like based on how they be talking to you.
Yeah, no, and this year has been like one of the first years that my kids have been saying, I found your podcast. I saw videos of you before I came to class. I said, I apologize. Make sure that your parents know that that's just one side of my I am professional. I am licensed to teach this, and I am knowing what I am doing. But yeah, I'm an idiot. I got into broadcasting when I was in college, and I stuck with it, and I continue to have a microphone and the ability to stream from wherever I'm at. So people got to deal with it, but it's I feel like showing it to the kids is a good thing, because it's like, that's what I like to do. I have an opinion. I can express my opinion, and they like to do it now too. Like, that's half of my class is sports debates. I was getting updates on my phone the other day, like, Zach Bond resigned, telling the kids like, oh, yeah, that's nice. I said, yeah, 3 years, 51 million. He's like, dang, get an interception in the Super Bowl, see what happens. Life changing. Let's
go ahead and get into this. We're gonna get into these sports. Let's go ahead and start. You know, it's about to be we in spring training for MLB season. You know, I'm waiting on my Guardians. Let's see if we make it to the championship this year. But how you feel about your Rockies? I don't know if you're a Rocky fan or not, but how you feel how they gonna do this year?
We try and avoid talking about the Rockies as much as possible, because they don't deserve any credit. Like, the ownership down, if you don't know, because baseball is very regionalized. I'm not trying to like bash on the organization. They truly are run like Major League. Speaking like the Cleveland ties, the owner doesn't have the best players. He knows that. He doesn't care. He makes sure that the payroll he pays like 4 or 5 players enough to make sure that he doesn't have to pay whatever, he's above whatever salary floor there is. He's not paying a luxury tax, and he gets thousands and thousands of people to go to that stadium every time that there's a home series. For whatever reason, everybody, and it's because Colorado has a lot of people from different places. So Dodgers come here, Yankees come here, Astros come here. There's a lot of opposing team fans. The Rockies just aren't even like trying to be competitive. It's a race to see, are we losing 100 this year? Last year, I think they had given up more runs than the Broncos had averaged on the season. The Broncos averaged like 20 points, and the Rockies had given up 28 runs in a game, 30-plus runs in a game. Colorado is not – it's outside of 1 or 2 random seasons where we'll make a wild card run. Thinking about Ubaldo Jimenez in my elementary school days with Rocktober and all of those things. It's like once a year or once every like 18 years we'll do something. That franchise has existed for nearly 30 years and never won a division.
That's and like Yeah, they exist. How long they been around? 30 years?
Yeah, it was the 90s. We got a baseball team just before the hockey team. It was like 1993 was when the Rockies came, and we have not won an NL West since. Every time we've made the playoffs, it's been wild card, and we had the one World Series run where we got our asses handed to us very nicely by the Boston Red Sox, and since then it's just been mediocrity. I think the most baseball content we did was when they moved the All-Star game from Atlanta to Denver. And we got to go and we bought tickets to go to all the different things and went to the expo and saw the trophy and did all of that kind of stuff. Saw Vlad Guerrero hit the home run in our section. I didn't catch the ball, but I bought a guy, the guy who caught the ball, a beer, and he let me take a picture with the ball. Like I looked like I caught it. So um, that's like the most baseball thing that we look forward to. The Rockies, it doesn't matter the acquisitions. They're just guaranteed. They want to. They're the Chicago Bulls of the MLB. They just want to have people come to the stadium, spend money, and they'll make their money, and they don't care about wins and losses. If the players want to care, like hopefully they have the talent to do it, but they're not getting any help from the management.
So the draft picks be horrible, or they be big busts or something?
I mean, there's always the stigma, like you want to get a pitcher here, but pitching at altitude, it makes people afraid. I pitched at altitude the entire time I played baseball growing up. I never really noticed that much of a difference. Like if you know how to throw, you throw. Every now and then you give up a bomb, and sometimes they look a little bit better here, but it's not like something that should be catastrophic. Um, it, the the whole thing goes back to like the Arenado situation, because you work out a contract with that guy and you know how good he is, and then you trade him to the Cardinals for nothing and pay half of that giant ass salary that you signed him to. Like that was the end of Jeff Bradich's GM career here in Colorado. But that was like, even the dumbest person knows that doesn't make logical sense. Because you at least need to get, if you're going to trade Nolan Arenado, which everybody was begging you not to, you better get something back that you can use in return. And no, they didn't. And then Trevor Story at shortstop is gone, and he's playing for the Yankees. And now you bring in Chris Bryant, who sleeps wrong and is out for 90 days on the DL. Like, it's just been tragedy after tragedy. It's truly not even fun to kick them anymore because they don't give a shit. They're not paying attention to anything other than counting their money based off of people going to their park. And I hate how many transplants live in my state, because that's who's spending the money to go watch the Rockies. It ain't Colorado people going to watch the Rockies. It's everybody else who's watching their favorite team beat our ass at every home series.
So you feel like they trying to move to Vegas or something? Or?
I don't even think that they care to move because the stadium is lucrative. It's in a great spot in downtown. They don't have to move anywhere. They just truly don't care if they win or not. Like, the ownership doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to them at all.
Yes, that's crazy, man. I hope the Guardians don't ever get like that. Well, I think Cleveland, they don't know.
Major League was written as a joke, ladies and gentlemen. Major League was a joke. It's not a joke.
So you feel like, who was the Aaron though you mentioned? What position he play?
Arenado was a third baseman. He was a Gold Glove every single year, and then he is also like a Silver Slugger. He would lead the team in home runs. He was on the lineup, like really came into his own when Carlos Gonzalez was still somewhat doable. We had Charlie Blackmon. Like, the Rockies have had players throughout this entire stretch, but it's never all at the same time, and somebody gets hurt, or, I mean, the yips are a real thing. I don't know what it is. Like, June, everybody in the MLB goes through the June swoon, but June is hell for the Rockies. They lose damn near every game in June every single season. It's like that 30 days, 31 days of the calendar where it's June. Like, the Rockies just can't handle it, and they get their ass kicked, whether it's home or on the road. The pitching staff needs to get a lot better. Their starters weren't terrible, but the bullpen sucked. And when you have inconsistent starters and a bad bullpen, you're turning bad pitching over into bad pitching. We never even got to use our closer because we never had a lead. Our offense was so terrible. Like, you have to flip it from front to back. You have to hope that a lot of people got a lot better going into spring training. But I don't know if you saw it. Did you see the video of the bases clearing sac fly that was hit against the Colorado Rockies in spring training? Yeah, warning track sac fly. The ball never made it back to whatever infielder they were throwing it to. It just got tossed and kicked around the diamond damn near. It was like a movie scene, and they cleared the bases on a sac fly. All three. It was bases loaded, sac fly, clear the bases.
Well, let me go ahead and ask you about the hockey team.
Hockey's good. Hockey's going much better now.
What did the Avalanches? That's how you say it.
The Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah, what you feel about them?
2022 Stanley Cup champions. Since then, been rough. The year after, our captain's been hurt for the last 2 seasons. He has not played since we were in the Stanley Cup final. He's got the same knee injury that Lonzo Ball has. So they've both been trying to work back in rehab, but I feel like skating with that knee injury must be 10 times harder than just trying to run and jump. And I know that basketball is difficult, but like that's been one situation that we've dealt with so far. And one of our best players is this Russian guy named Valeri Nichushkin. And he is amazing when he's on the ice. He is a Russian wild man. When he doesn't have a game to play, like they get days off on their road trips, he's going to get in trouble. He's getting suspended. He's been suspended 3 times already. He's on the absolute dead last final strike number 4 with the NHL. If he gets caught with anything, doing anything nefarious again, he can never play hockey in the NHL, which Russian guys sometimes don't listen to because they can go back and play in Russia and make just as much money.
What's his name?
Valeri Nichushkin. You should look him up. He's been suspended in back-to-back seasons where we're in first-round playoff series.
Don't tell me he be on that Draymond.
Not Draymond. It's just like there was one year where they were in Seattle playing against the Kraken in the first season that the Kraken had ever made the playoffs, and some drunk Russian woman is trying to bash on his hotel room door to get him to talk to him, and then security ushers him away, and then the police reports come out months later, and then it's like, oh, he's going to rehab. We'll see you in 6 months. Hopefully he's better. And then he comes out 6 months later, and he's playing, and they're going great. He's a family man now. And then they have a long trip to Toronto, and turns out he was partying in his hotel room. It was snowing in Toronto. Go figures. And he's suspended again. This time, like almost indefinitely. It's been like, dude, I feel for people that go through addiction and everything like that. This is clearly a case of that. I hope that he is okay and he's come back and he's been playing very well this season. That's been the last 2 years that we've been talking about. But this specific season, he is playing well. He's a hell of a hockey player. Like helps the team. They have like an 8.57 winning percentage with him and a 3-something without him. He is instrumental to the team's success. But it is like a crapshoot every single night. Like if he gets a wild hair and goes out and has a drink, he might wind up on the Empire State Building, and we can't stop him. That's the thing that we're dealing with out here in Colorado. But we just had a whole bunch of movement at the deadline, and you know I'm worried because the Stars are a hell of a hockey team, and the Edmonton Oilers up in Canada are a hell of a hockey team. And then in the East, Florida just picked up Brad Marchand from Boston, which I didn't ever think that he would leave. So, like, there's some other teams. I'm not sitting here saying that I'm super confident the Colorado Avalanche will win a Stanley Cup, but we can make it into the playoffs, and we've built our roster to a point where, like, we can give anybody a run. Nico and I can have a lot of playoff streams where, damn, that was a hard-fought game. Like, we might have never had a chance to win, but they know they played us. We ran them into the boards. We knocked their teeth out a little bit. They were scared for a second. That's all I'm really looking for right now. I just want to watch meaningful hockey again. I feel like I haven't watched that since we won the Stanley Cup 3 years ago now.
So you feel like they're going to go into the Rockies stage? Or
No. No, they were in their Rockies stage before the Rockies. In 2017, they have the record for the worst season in NHL history. They had like 80-something losses, or not 80 losses because it's the 82-game season. They had like 50 losses, 20 wins, 50 losses. It was something ridiculous like that. They finished with 57 points on the season, and you get 2 points to your total for every win that you have. So doing quick math, that's about 25 wins.
in a season of 82 games.
Who did they get? Who did they get in the next draft though?
That was Cale Makar, the all-world defenseman that just whooped the shit out of Team USA in the Four Nations and won Canada the championship.
He still might be on.
Oh yeah. No, he's never going anywhere else. So we've given up a couple other all-world, like world-class players to make sure that we have enough money for when his contract comes up. He just gets like, excuse me, Mr. McCart, how much do you want to sign for? Yeah, that sounds good. Here you go. He's that good.
So I feel like they gonna do next year or this year. Like you feel like they gonna win or.
See, it'll be interesting because hockey has the trade deadline a little bit closer to the end of the season, start of the playoffs. So it's hard. Like they have to get used to their new team. We had a big trade a few weeks ago with Martin Nietzsche, is a guy who came over from New Jersey, and he's started to fit in really well. I want to see, like Nico was texting me earlier, so I'll bring up all the moves that we had. Eric Johnson, he was the longest tenured player on our team before we won the Stanley Cup. He won the Stanley Cup with us and then left in free agency. We brought him back, so we get a morale boost in the locker room. Charlie Coyle is a Colorado Avalanche, and that was huge. He was the assistant captain for Boston for a long time, and I just think, like, I can't sit here, like I said, I can't sit here and say with total confidence we'll be in conference finals or championship round, but I think second round and pushing a really good team like Vegas or Edmonton to the brink, I think that would be more than anything. And who knows, if you get hot at the right time, you can go, you can win stuff that you're not supposed to. It doesn't always go to the favorite. Vegas isn't always built on money bet on the favorite. Like, things can happen. I think the Colorado Avalanche fans after today with the trade deadline should be very excited for the rest of the season. This is going to be a fun spring as the weather starts to get a little bit warmer.
The way you was talking about the Rockies,
I can go up and down. See, as a Bengals fan and somebody who's lived around the Broncos, I peak and valley more than anybody. And the Rockies are the lowest depths of valley hell that you can get into right now.
The Rockies sound like the 76ers, where they always get that one generational talent. But then it's like baseball is not like basketball or I guess even football where the quarterback or AI or Joey Embiid can't carry the team. You need multiple players. So that sounds like that's what the Rockies are. It's like they get one generational talent, and then for the next 6, 7, 8 years, they milk that one person with mediocre players, and then it's on to the next one.
It's the same exact thing. Like, I wonder who our next big stud is going to be. There's some pitcher that people are paying attention to because he celebrates really big, but he's like, it's in the social media post I saw, he says he's a mid pitcher. Like, that's what we have to cheer for in Colorado is mediocrity. If we can just be mediocre and win about 80 games, we'll be happy. I just don't want to win. I just don't want to lose 120 or whatever it was trending like we were going to lose last year. There was a singular month where the Rockies didn't win a baseball game. And we're not the only show that doesn't talk about Colorado Rockies baseball. It's spread throughout the entirety of all local sports radio here in Denver. Like, we need to get rid of the ownership. We need to show ownership that we don't like this team, and we can't keep doing that when they make millions and millions of dollars every time they have a home series. So the only way that they can do that is not give them any media coverage. But it doesn't matter because baseball is the one sports league that you can still survive on live events. Like, getting the money from the ticket sales, you can still survive with a franchise on that and a regional TV deal. Like, that's why baseball is like, it's weird how popular it used to be. And I know that people still like it, but it's definitely fallen off quite a bit, but it's strange. It's its own thing.
Y'all do not like the Rockies. So what you
I would like them to be good. I would like them to be good. I deal with enough with my Bengals that if I was that diehard about the Rockies too, I would just be depressed. I would have seasonal depression 12 months out of the year.
Man, let's go ahead and move on. You talking about they done came together and blocked the Rockies. y'all serious over there. Yeah, man. Denver Nuggets. Now, Denver has a history when it comes to Melo, and we ain't gonna get to all that. Y'all recently won NBA championship. I can remember within the past 4 years. So, how you feel about the Nuggets this season? And how you think they go during the playoffs?
Everybody needs to step up their game a little bit. Like, since the championship win, it feels like people besides Jokic, because I think that Jokic, and I get this a lot from my co-host as well, because he's the biggest Nuggets fan that I know. Like, that is one of the best players that exists right now. So, like, being able to play around him is very important. Westbrook has stepped into a role that nobody thought he was going to embrace as a Denver Nugget, and he's embraced it and thrived. MPJ and Jamal Murray right now are the big worries, because we can get bubble Murray every now and then, where Jamal Murray is the true second best player on the court, maybe sometimes even the best, and MPJ is a great offensive threat, but the defense is an issue for MPJ, and Jamal Murray has shown certain stretches this year where I don't trust him in major moments. I hope that changes. In the big time, but I like Michael Malone. I think that this team, they whiffed on a couple of their offseason moves. Like, Saric is not the guy that they wanted him to be, but you have Nikola Jokic. You have good players around him. Play a few months of really solid, mistake-free basketball. Avoid the Oklahoma City Thunder until a conference final, and then the Denver Nuggets can be back playing against Boston. Ruin the NBA's chances of getting Lakers Celtics. I can feel that happening with Denver.
My problem with y'all is Michael Porter Jr. I feel like
his tattoos suck. I will give you that. His tattoos are ugly.
Okay. I don't know if y'all like him because of nostalgia, because he been there when y'all wasn't winning for real. So I don't know. Like, what's up with Michael Porter Jr. in Denver? Like, y'all like him or what?
I feel like he's gotten better. He was somebody that we weren't supposed to have. He's was a projected number 1 pick before he had his back issues in college. So the fact that we have him, I feel like he got a little bit more leeway initially. But everybody said from the moment, like, your defense is atrocious. You need to learn how to play at least a little bit of defense, or be Steph Curry and be the greatest shooter of all time. Those are your two options. During the championship run, it seemed like KCP was able to get him to play at a certain level. It like I said, it's just not consistent. I don't see him consistently being a guy that can play up and down the floor. And he's not a consistent shooter either. He's either lights out or it's very spotty. So I just feel like he's been playing forever, but he's still young. He hasn't quite found his role. Like, he's supposed to be, if he would be, if he could play defense, a great 3-and-D guy. Like, you don't have to drive to the post. You don't have to go to the hole. Like, sit out on the perimeter, play defense, and we can work with that, because Jokic is going to make you open. Jokic opens everybody else up on the floor. But I think that he just, as much as he embraced the role in the championship run, ever since then, it's been up and down, and I don't know what Michael Porter Jr. is going to show up every time.
It's just like, he one of them type players. He like a Ben Simmons to me. He got the same build as Ben Simmons. Though we know when the contract is up.
I will fight you on that one, because Ben Simmons is mentally very weak, and Michael Porter Jr. has had a lot that he was able to play through on the championship run. Like, his family was going through absolute hell. Like, Ben Simmons couldn't even take a shot because Philadelphia media was too mean to him. Michael Porter Jr. doesn't have that side. I get the physical comparison, yes, but mentally, Michael Porter Jr., that's also another reason why we like to defend him, because we know what he's gone through, and his brothers have made his life absolute hell for the last 3 years.
Explain. What you talking about?
He's got one brother that was convicted of some crime going through our playoff run. He's got another brother that was either assaulted or killed. Like, it's not easy times for his family, and he was still with the team and playing through all of this. So I give him a lot of credit, because in a time where everybody would have given him, like, okay, sit out, it's obviously too clear you're mentally not able to do this. He said no and was able to step up and played like a champion on that championship run. But it's not all the time. That was the one snapshot in that time period where he was going through a lot and he stepped up to it. I just don't like don't call him Ben Simmons. Let's call him, he's not as good as Kyrie, but like mentally, that's where I'd put him at. Because some days maybe good, some days maybe shit.
Well, I was gonna say when it comes to the Ben Simmons part is we know when the contract up, he gonna want $100+ million. And I don't feel like he been playing at $100+ million.
No, he hasn't earned that at all.
And I really think he need to be a power forward. But I get this. He's built like a small forward, but his game is more like you could be like a stretch forward.
Yeah. he could be like a Ray Allen type, where like you just sit up in the corner after you don't have to. You're not playing anywhere near the hoop. Like, you play defense on the perimeter, you play offense on the perimeter. That's all we need from you. When his shot is on, it's impeccable. It's really fun to watch. I really like when I would sit there and watch him shoot threes in an empty gym for a little bit. I'm not that big of a basketball fan. I'm more of a wrestling coach. But I would sit there and watch for a little bit, see if I could pick something up and shoot my shot a little bit better. If that's the case, I feel like Denver is in a point, like Michael Malone knows, Calvin Booth should know, like, you got to move on if he asks for too much. That is not a guy that you give a blank check to. That is a guy that you tell him, this is what we're willing to pay you, and if you want more, you can go someplace that will pay you more, but they're not going to be as good. You can go to Washington and make all the money you want. What are you going to do there?
You think Denver reaching this peak, though?
I don't know if it's this is like the championship window's not open forever, and Jokic is not the most committed basketball lover. Like, I think he likes to play, but he doesn't really love the game. So, like, the window's not going to be open forever. I don't think that we're not going to be like back to back, and we're not going to be Golden State winning 5 out of 7. Obviously, we haven't won since our first championship. But I don't think that we're going to go 50 years without another NBA title. I feel like right now this team is good enough that we can be competitive, and at least in the playoffs, and maybe every now and then win and get into the conference finals, and maybe win and represent the NBA finals. Maybe we're the Utah Jazz of the 90s. Maybe we're the New York Knicks, one of those teams that, like, you have somebody that you can never get past, but you're always there and you're always competitive.
Y'all get past the Lakers.
Well, we had, up until this most recent matchup, we had won like 15 in a row against them. Nowadays, who knows? Because that team is scary. I'm hoping that mojo wears off after the trade is cooled and settled. But I will say, before this most recent meeting, we were 15-0 against the Lakers, and that included 2 playoff series, 1 conference final series, where we swept y'all ass. I hate the Lakers.
I think Melo and them back then should be Kobe, but that's one of them conspiracy theories,
And Lala wanted to go to New York. That was why Melo pushed so hard to get traded. And I don't know why the hell he had to bring Chauncey with him. Chauncey's from Colorado. Of course he wanted to stay. He's got teams. He coaches youth teams here. He's got a youth basketball league in Colorado. And Lala and Melo were like, no, you're coming to New York with us. And Chauncey was pissed. Chauncey hated it.
And wasted all his years.
Well, to be fair, how much did we trust Carmelo to win in the NBA level? Speaking of mental toughness. There seemed to be a lack of that. I've heard stories of Kevin Garnett just dropping one-liners on him, and Carmelo couldn't make another shot. Like, I know. I'm
sure. Tastes like Honey Nut Cheerios.
Yeah, there we go. You heard it too. I heard Lala tastes like Skittles, but Honey Nut Cheerios works too. Oh, and then Carmelo just shut down for the rest of the game. Like, dang. Where's Ron Simmons? Damn.
It was more to that, though. Like, I think you're not playing behind the scenes. Now, I'm not defending Melo at all, but I think it was more to him and Kevin Garnett than what people saying. Like, it was way more to him just saying that.
I feel like he's got to say something to warrant that from Kevin Garnett. If Kevin Garnett walks up to the free throw like setup and he just turns to you, and the first thing he says is "Lala tastes like Honey Nut Cheerios." You're like, what the? I feel like I gotta fight you. I gotta fight you for my honor right now. Hi, how are you? My name is Carmelo. Your name is Kevin. Nice to meet you. No, I'm gonna start off with this. Damn. Don't say that. Don't say that about another person's woman.
Man, they need to stop, man. So we get into this NFL talk. Let's go ahead and go off topic. Let's go ahead and talk about this John Cena stuff, because this thing like we pretty sure you got some things you want to get out of your chest. So let's go ahead and talk about this WWE. What you feel about John Cena turning heel, the chamber match, all that?
I watched Elimination Chamber, watched Monday Night Raw recently. John Cena wasn't there. He's not going to be at everything, but it was cool. Like, Nico and I have been WWE guys for a long time, and we always got shit for it. Like, it wasn't cool, and then it was cool, and now it's kind of cool again. But, like, John Cena was the lead story of Pat McAfee's show. It was on ESPN First Take. It was on the Fox Talk show. It was a big deal because that was a guy, like, if you watched wrestling growing up, if you had a period of wrestling where you watched growing up, if you're as old as I am and as Nico is, like, he was the only ultimate good guy. He was the guy that you could always look to, and your parents would tell you, hey, watch him. If you're going through something tough, watch him. He never gives up. He's always hustling. He's always loyal. He's always being respectful. And he kicked my man Cody Rhodes in the dick. And I did not expect it. I thought we were past the point where my man could turn heel, and I'm all here for it. We talked about it a bunch on our most recent episode. Nico and I both. We talked about where this thing could go, but damn, what a moment where you can just capture everything going on in the country at one time. Because I feel like that was the biggest sports moment on Saturday night. There was other things going on, but it was bigger than the NBA. It was bigger than the NHL games that were going on. It was bigger than college basketball. Everybody was talking about John Cena, ball spot and all, kicking Cody Rhodes in the junk and siding with The Rock. And everybody wondering why. I don't know if you have a theory. Why did The Rock do this with two fingers? Like, it's you either do thumb or you do one. He did this and then held it up afterwards like he was smoking a cigar or something. I was like, you're weird, dude. You're getting really weird for my taste. You're lucky I like your movies, but I don't like Dwayne right now. Dwayne's getting a little iffy for my taste.
What?
No, I didn't know how to end that one. I was going off. I'd gone off on a path down that I had no idea of, so there we go.
You think he on somebody?
No, I just think he's a little bit out of touch. He's been famous and very famous for so long. I feel like he might be like, he's not a real person anymore. He doesn't know what real human interaction is like. He thinks everybody just wakes up and eats 15 pancakes on their cheat day because everybody has a cheat day.
I think the Rock just wants some attention. We know he getting paid a lot of money to come into WWE.
He is on the board of directors for TKO. Like, he is doing a lot of the behind the scenes work. And then they're also going to have the UFL coming back. Like him and I can't think of his former wife and now business partner's name, but they're going to have another season coming up. So, like, they have some things in the works. I feel like at this point, this storyline seems like he wants to do it. And I don't know what it's going to lead to. It might lead to him and The Rock wrestling his cousin in a match. It might lead to another John Cena Rock match at WrestleMania at some point. Not at some point. It would have to be this one. I don't know. I'm just excited because it's been a while since I could go back and just be that 12-year-old kid sitting in my living room like, oh, shit. He was a good guy, and now he's a bad guy. He just kicked him in the... Oh, my God. I need a moment.
Everybody wants this Roman Reigns versus The Rock. Like, I don't think y'all don't know. That's not going to happen. I'm just calling... Like, we knew Cena was going to do something, turn heel or win the chamber match. We know he was going to... Because he was getting stale. You know, you can't say it's your last year and you stale. But... with The Rock versus Roman Reigns, that's just... Do y'all really want to see that? Like, let's just be honest. Like,
I feel like it was mentioned in that TV show that he has, so now people are talking about it a little bit.
Roman is just that dude. I put him up there with Hulk Hogan minus the racism. It's just he just be his promos. Well, he got with Paul Heyman, huh?
You don't like Roman?
I don't like his character. We ain't talk about real life, cause we talk about character. His character just be He one of the reasons I stopped wrestling. I feel like every time I turn on TV wrestling, Roman Reigns be hurt. I don't want to see that. Mine, this one we coming out. This one Cena was like mid, like he was a semi wrestler doing Hollywood stuff. So we were like, finally, we ain't got to do a Cena Nation, none. Then all of a sudden, it's like this dude Roman every day. Cause I was trying to get back into wrestling when Cena left. So was that like 2015, 16? Roman be right cut. I'm not watching this. Like we just got rid of Cena.
That's funny because you didn't like when Cena was that way, and then they were trying to do the same thing with Reigns. The best thing they did to Reigns was they turned him into a bad guy and gave him Paul Heyman, and he's a really good, like, arrogant prick. He's really good at playing that. He's a good actor too. He benefited on the one person that I can find that benefited from the pandemic more than anybody is Roman Reigns. Not having a live audience that could chirp him, he was able to do his acting. He was able to do his facial gimmicks and everything like that, and people liked it. Like, his character totally flipped during the pandemic and into that heel character. But no, he was supposed to be the next John Cena. Like, John Cena was going off, and then Roman Reigns was just going to be the next Superman that can knock any nine-man team out in one shot. Bang!
You know who they don't turn into the next Chris Jericho? Seth Rollins. You know how Chris Jericho be in the mid-card for like 3-4 years, and they'll just throw him into the main event, put the belt on him, and then like 3 months later, he'll look. That's Seth Rollins. Like, Seth Rollins, he's the next Chris Jericho. Like, dude, it's like, they don't want to put you in the mid card because WWE they got talent, but they ain't got the ticket sale talent yet. Like, they got people like, you know what I'm talking about. I ain't trying to get too detailed. Seth Rollins it's like they trying to make him be the star of the main event, I guess, carry into the next wave of talent. But they know they still need him in the main event because, main event get a real draw right now. That's how I feel like Seth Rollins. What you feel about Seth Rollins?
Seth Rollins is the new version of CM Punk. CM Punk was the new version of Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho was the new version of Shawn Michaels. Like, they're all amazing. They all serve their own purpose. They all have their certain times where they have championships. Rollins is one of the best. And I love what he's doing with Punk right now. And Punk, right, I didn't give him the credit because I was a big Cena fan when Cena and Punk were wrestling. So I was like, man, fuck this guy. He thinks he knows. And I was wrong. I will admit that. Hand up. I was wrong. I should have been on Punk's side. The promo he cut on Seth Rollins and then the brawls that happened afterwards, that's the most I've cared about wrestling in quite a long time. Like, watching CM Punk and Seth Rollins fight each other, and Seth Rollins can have a 5-star match against anybody. He could probably have a 5-star match against a goddamn Broom. I think that he could convince me that a Broom could pin him, and then he would somehow come back and roll up the Broom, and I would be crying because I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe he overcame an inanimate object. He's on another level, that's for sure.
Man, I used to be watching wrestling just for CM Punk. I ain't watched none of his matches, but his promo game, you talk about, dude, I feel like he can wrestle. I think he wrestled 10 times better now than he did back then. You talk about his promo game, anything, I feel like he done dumbed it down. The pipe bomb, and it's like every week it's not like at peak, everybody was scared of Triple H. See, I'm probably like the only dude, he would give me like them Stone Cold vibes. Like, he used to be like F Hunter, F Steph, he be F Cena. It felt like, even if it was scripted, I feel like some of that stuff he was saying was not scripted. I feel like some of that was some behind the scenes stuff, and he'll just bring it to the live audience. That's why
he did the same thing on Monday. He's like, Becky Lynch, you better come get your man before I do, because if I do, I'm going to put him in a wheelchair, like bringing the wife in. And
then Becky Lynch chirps back at him like he's still doing the same thing where like there's a little bit. Seth Rollins and CM Punk hate each other. They won't full-on fist fight, but when they have a match, everything is live. They're punching each other. They're kicking each other. They know who's supposed to win, and they're going to honor who's supposed to win based on the storyline, but they're kicking the shit out of each other when they have a chance. That is for